What's up, moviegoers? Welcome to the Marchio podcast. I'm your host, Anthony. In this episode of the Marchio podcast, I'm talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2003 remake of the 1974 film of the same name. The movie is directed by Marcus Nipsel, and basically the plot follows a group of friends, young adults, traveling through rural Texas who encounter Leatherface and his murderous cannibalistic family. So the same plot as the original, and it is a remake of the Tobe Hooper 1974 film and the fifth installment in the franchise. Several crew members of the original film were involved in the project. Hooper and Kim Hinkle served as co-producers. Daniel Pearl, the cinematographer for the 1974 movie, returned for this one. And John Larroquette, ladies and gentlemen, reprised his role as the voice narrator for the opening intertitles at the beginning and the end of the movie. So, John Larroquette is very prominent in certain things, and his voice was prominent in the 1974 version, and as he's more older now in 2003, he had a more substantial role in this version. The movie was released on October 17th, 2003, has a running time of 98 minutes, had a budget of $9.5 million, and grossed $107 million at the box office. Now here's the thing. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake is one of the most amazing, best horror remakes of all time. This movie is 100 times better than the 1974 original film, and it's better than actually the first, second, and third, and fourth movie combined. This movie is a slasher film, but it's more so to me categorized as a horror film. The Leatherface character is more menacing. He's more of a brute. He's hulking in nature. He's scary. And the face and the look that he has is much more updated and much more different than in the original movies. And here's the thing. Anytime Leatherface is on screen, the appearance that he has and the presence that he has is very, very scary. I loved everything about this horror movie because even though it was almost close to being a shot by shot, but with added certain story plots and elements, it made up for it. And Arlie Ermey as the sheriff was creepy. He stood out immensely in this role. He made the movie what it is, and certain aspects of this movie were very uncomfortable to see and uncomfortable to watch. The ending is great. The ending makes up for how certain things work. And Leatherface is just more so crazy and scary in this movie. You wanted Leatherface in the movie, and you got Leatherface in the movie. This movie was at a time where it made sense. It was fun. And for this movie opening close to 3,000 theaters, grossing $10 million on its opening day and $29 million in one weekend, and within 17 days of its release, the film grossed $66 million in the U.S. Basically, that means it was a hit. The movie made back its budget tremendously. And the actor who portrays Leatherface did all of his own stunts and was forced to wear a fat suit, which increased his near 300-pound body to close to 420 pounds. The suit heated up quickly, so the actor had to ensure that he drank lots of fluid before the shoot. And the Leatherface mask was also a problem. The mask was made out of silicone and was difficult for the actor to breathe in. The crew had many props, chainsaws for the actor to use, such as chainsaws that put out smoke and live chainsaws. So the thing is that when you see certain aspects of this movie and you see how the wielding chainsaw is handled by Leatherface, it's much more firmer, it's much more smooth, and much more realistic than the first movie back in 1974. This movie worked on so many levels, and I can't praise this remake enough. Now, the aspect of this film is that when you heard it was going to be remade, you thought like, okay, this movie's going to have that grainy, gritty look to it like the first movie did. But it didn't. It did not at all. It did have the aspect of it because of how the lighting was used in this movie. There's a shot where one of the characters is running toward a house, and the light from the back is lighting up the house from the back through the front windows and the doors. Such a great shot, such a great scene. And he's being chased by Leatherface through hanging bed sheets that are being dried out on clotheslines, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. And Leatherface, puts these characters on meat hooks and stuff, but it's much more gruesome than it is in the first original movie back in 1974. This Leatherface has no remorse, no mercy, and just does whatever the hell he wants, and it shows. And we actually get to see the real face of Leatherface in this. And, he takes off his mask to sew up certain things, and we see his face of how it is and what happens. And there's a scene where I believe the grandmother or the aunt or the mother or the matriarch of the family explains what happened to Thomas Hewitt, the Leatherface character, and why he became what he became, and, all the whole thing of what's going on. The Hewitt family in this is much more menacing. The Sawyer name is not mentioned at all. Of course, it's good because it takes a different, turn and way to introduce certain elements of certain things. And it's different. It's fun. Like I said, this movie is fun. If you haven't seen this movie, definitely check it out. And if you're a fan of horror like me, and when I say that this movie is the best horror remake of all time, that's saying something, because it is. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 is the best horror movie remake ever. Some might disagree with me, some might not. But more so 9 times out of 10, the overwhelming majority say that this is a good remake. And the reason it's a good remake is because the menacing character of what Leatherface is. So let me know in the comment section below what you think about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 remake. Do you think it's a good remake? Do you think it's a fantastic remake? And do you think it's the best remake of all time, horror genre-wise? And do you think that this movie is far superior than the other 4 previous movies in the franchise as well? And do you think that this Leatherface was more scary and menacing than the other Leatherfaces in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm really curious to hear your answers. And be sure you tune into the next episode of the Marchio podcast, where I talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning. And be sure you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell for new videos and new podcast episodes on the Marchio Productions YouTube page. And follow Marchio Productions on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And follow me, Anthony, your host, on Instagram and Twitter at misterfilmstock. And follow the Marchio Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'll leave a link to all the social media accounts in the description box below. You can check it out and follow along. All right, everyone, that does it for today's episode. I'm your host, Anthony. Thanks for tuning in.